everyone. Welcome. My name is Gabriela Fernandez. I'm going to be your host today for our beautiful live stream event, Behind the Lens Flow, with our incredible featured photographer, Quinn, Saine, the man behind the lens. And I saw this quote that read, if you're inspired when you create, you'll create inspiring things. And I think that is exactly what he is doing. So today we're going to be diving into the creative process. We'll be going behind the scenes. How does he get this beautiful image done that's right behind me, and so much more. So this event is being recorded. I encourage you all to use the chat box for any commentary, questions. We'll be paying attention to all of those. Let me know where everyone's joining in from. Drop it in the chat. Definitely want to make sure I see where all of you are joining in from. And so we are here to celebrate Quinn Saine, who's going to be joining me here. What's going on, man? The man behind the lens.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for the great introduction, Gabriela. Appreciate it.
No, my pleasure is all mine. I feel so privileged to be able to showcase just all of your beautiful photography, talk about ICM photography, which was something new to me prior to meeting you, but being able to learn about your craft and just everything that is involved with your creative process has been super inspiring. For those of you who don't know, we are at the Community Center in Yountville, which is where Quinn Saine has his beautiful showcase right now for Flow. That's located at 6516 Washington Street for anyone who wants to go ahead and come visit. The gallery is open several times, Monday through Friday. We also have some weekend hours from 12 to 4 and Monday through Fridays from 9 to 5. So some fun things for you to come visit while you're in town. How has it been, by the way? You had the Yountville Art Gallery opening a couple of weeks ago. How was the opening? Was it exciting?
Oh, man, there are so many exciting things happening right now. I feel like I've just been riding this wave of unbelievable connections and people, and the support was amazing. I think the thing that excites me the most is just that this all happened by mistake initially, and for something so close to my heart that I didn't even want to put out there at first. I had never seen anything like what I'm doing, and I've talked to other photographers. I say, what is that? How do you take these photos? What's going on? So for personal, I actually had zero expectations. So I'm very, very appreciative of everything that's happening right now.
Well, look at the beautiful things that can come from a mistake, right?
Yeah.
An accident.
Exactly. So I feel, I was just going to go out there and create things regardless, just because I loved it. And so for that to be accepted, and for this to happen and so many people get behind it has been really, really special. And it's a little bit of a vulnerable thing to get out there and put some weird art out there, but I love being on the coast and I love creating these images. So yeah, it's been a real treat.
I love that. And it looks like you've got some incredible support. I'm checking out these comments rolling in. You've got people from Silverado Resort. You've got people from Seattle here. We've got other people located. Stephanie Johnson is here, which super excited to talk about her involvement with you and just this huge project that's come to life. So we are going to be diving into all of it. I also want to mention to everyone who is here with us, we have an incredible giveaway right at the end of the show. So something very special that Quinn will be talking about throughout this live stream event. We'll be giving away the 12 by 18 canvas that the exact image that Quinn actually photographed and was selected as the inaugural cover of ICM Photography magazine, which is super special. And we're definitely going to be chatting about that. How dope was that entire process and actually landing yourself in that magazine?
Oh man, so that actually happened right as the lockdown came in, as the coronavirus hit, and so I had a little bit of time on my hands. So Stephanie reached out, and I said, "Well, yeah, I'll get everything over to you right now. This sounds amazing. Inaugural issue. Definitely get some images over to you." And I had recently taken a photo that I was super, super psyched about. It was out on. We're going to watch a video here shortly that Stephanie was kind enough to put together for us, but it's called Salmon Surprise. And so the idea behind that name is that it was taken at North Salmon Beach And it was a classic moment where the sun's going down in Northern California, huge cloud of fog. You're just expecting a big dud of a sunset after an hour and a half drive out there, and the last second, the sun came out just above the horizon and just lit up the sky, and was this unbelievable moment. And that was one of the images that I submitted. And when she sent back the first proof of the magazine, it was on the cover, and I said, "What? This is amazing! Cool. Let's do that." So so that was kind of the thought process behind it. But Instagram's been amazing to connect with other artists and reach out to mentors and just collaborate with people, and it's been really great. So.
And definitely to continue that craft. I love that. Yeah, I'm excited to see Stephanie Johnson's video, which I know we're going to be launching up here in just a second, talking all about her involvement with you, why she ended up selecting your specific image for that cover. So let's go ahead and share that video and just give everyone else a little insight into that whole process.
The first issue of ICM Photography magazine was published on June 15, 2020, with Quinn's Salmon Surprise as the cover. ICM Photography magazine is a first-of-its-kind e-magazine dedicated solely to ICM photography. While there are a lot of photography e-magazines out there that feature one-off articles about ICM, there has never been an e-magazine solely dedicated to the ICM genre until now. ICM Photomag has brought ICM photography more into the mainstream as an acceptable and valid expression of photographic art, and it has reached into the lives of people in 42 countries around the world through the purchase of individual issues and nearly 600 active subscriptions. The magazine has now featured nearly 50 ICM photographers from 15 countries across 4 issues. For the inaugural issue of the magazine, I, Stephanie Johnson, personally selected 12 ICM photographers in addition to myself to be featured. I was already previously familiar with the work of some of these photographers, but for others, I found them by diligently scouring social media to find the best of the best. It was extremely important to me for the ICM work of the featured photographers in the first issue to be exceptional, because the success of the project depended on how well received the imagery would be, because it would set the tone for the quality of the magazine, and because it would set the stage for ICM to be taken seriously as a creative photographic expression. I found Quinn on Instagram and immediately reached out to ask him to be a featured photographer in the first issue of the magazine. Firstly, because his ICM images pack a powerful punch with their vibrant sunrise and sunset coastal colors, but then also because of his more linear style, which is similar to my own ICM style. This more linear style of ICM is not seen as often as other styles of ICM imagery, so I was instantly drawn to Quinn's images and his abstract expressionist way of communicating his artistic vision. I decided on Quinn's Salmon Surprise image almost as soon as he submitted his content and files to me. The layers of vibrant color, the strong horizontal lines, and the streak of yellow light from the sun just above the horizon spoke to me of the vision I had for creating this magazine and represented abstract expressionism perfectly. And Salmon Surprise best told the story I wanted the magazine to open with. Of all the images in that first issue from 13 photographers, I still feel this was the right choice. It became an iconic image for the launching of this project, and I am enormously grateful to Quinn for allowing me the honor of featuring his work in the launching of ICM Photography magazine.
Reimagining the world through ICM photography. Got to love it. Alan Brown's even in the comment section saying quality magazine, highly recommended. And I've got to tell you, absolutely. How cool has it been? Like, you were part of that with 13 other artists. This was a space that, I mean, you kind of touched up on it earlier, saying it was new to you, right? It was kind of an accident. So where did this passion come from? What initially got you started with photography in general, and then how did you land yourself into ICM?
It was out at Dillon Beach. That's the very first beach when I moved here from Hawaii that I went to. And so I was out there and I was looking for, I really had this idea in my mind that I wanted to be an advertisement, outdoor style photographer, and have, tiny people in these big, powerful landscapes of California. That's just so easy to capture when you're in these rich environments. And I was out there, and it was really hard because I was initially going out and setting up a tripod and running out and going out to this different spot and say, does that look good? And I'd go back and it looked terrible. So there's a lot of trial and error going back and forth there. And I was getting a little bit burnt out, and I felt like I was copying people and just trying to reproduce things that other people were doing better. And so I said, you know what, as I said, I was out at Dillon Beach, and I said, I'm just going to try this different lens that I never use. Is a zoom lens, a 7200 millimeter. And I had mixed up the settings. I shoot with manual settings, and I came away with this amazing image. I just reviewed it initially to delete it, and I said, what is this? This is interesting. And so it was these beautiful colors. I was shooting from a very low point of view, down on my knees in the wet sand. And I ended up getting these reflection photos. And I said, oh my gosh, these are so cool. These are really easy to look at. And it's, it has the texture of the water, and it has the warmth of the sun and the cools of the ocean. And there's just a lot going on here. And I said, what? This is awesome. This is so cool. So yeah. I hopped in the car afterwards and drove home, music all the way up, fired up, thinking I was the first person ever to do this, and I got home and I was like, this is my thing. This feels good. It feels creative. It feels unique. And so I just have stuck with it since then. And that's pretty much how it started, by accident. And yeah, that's how it began. And I just I love going out to the coast anyway. That's my favorite place to create images. And for it to have this unique style of, your unique touch on it is a really fun thing to do. So it was just a passion project, and it turned into this. I didn't even want to show the first photo because nobody else was doing anything like that. And so I said, what? Are these just blurry pictures? I had, I've got one friend, one of my best friends, who tells me these are so cool. These are amazing. And then I have another friend who I went down to visit him, and he said, are you still taking those blurry pictures? What are these? I don't get it. So there's definitely people, love and hate, but I really love it. And so if it's not for you, then that's okay. But I really just love taking these photos and creating them. Yeah.
And I think that that's what's going to matter at the end of the day. You said it perfectly. Yeah. It was a passion project, but when you have that passion and that love and the drive, the creativity, everything flows. And, even if people think that, what is this blurry image? Abstract art is valuable, and people appreciate abstract art. And that's what ICM photography is bringing to the table. What are all of the possibilities? So can you explain, for maybe someone like myself who is very new to this space originally, how ICM photography works? Like, what is it that you do? What does ICM stand for? Maybe for anybody here who's never even heard of that concept. Can we dive into that a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. As a self-taught photographer, I was winging it on a daily basis, just trying to figure things out, and just learning through the communities online and master classes and all these other things. But ICM photography is intentional camera movement, and so whether that's vertical, whether it's horizontal, I love shooting on the coast, and so that turns into more of a horizontal situation for me, because there's this. The thing that I fell in love with was that and I feel stupid for it sometimes, but I drive out to the coast and there's this once the sun's setting on the horizon, you can actually, it's not bright white, and it has a little bit of color to it. That's the moment that you can capture it, and it has that nice yellow feel to it. And so there's a couple photos that I'll show later that that you can have that. And I would just go out to the coast all the time, and there were so many nights when I would drive out there, and it's a long way out there. It's an hour and 15, 20 minutes one way. And just for the creative freedom to still come away with really rad images that I think they're cool. But to just go out and you'll see later that there's like side by sides of what it looks like and what you can create from an intentional camera movement photo. It just motivated me to keep going and know that I can, regardless of the circumstances, I can come away with something pretty cool. And my goal every time I go out there is to do, I take a couple, depending on the night, 200 to 400 photos, and
oh my God,
every time I try to come away with one picture that's worthwhile sharing. So that's my goal every time, is to have one from each trip. So essentially every trip out to the coast is representative of what music I'm listening to headed out there, what the feeling was. So I can look around this gallery and tell you exactly where it was and what, I'm a big music person, so I usually have the windows down, the heater up when it's out on the coast and chilly. So every photo is a trip, and it's just fun to do. So
every photo tells a story, and that's probably the best part about it, is knowing. I like that you can always walk away with something, because I think that'd be the frustrating part, right? You head somewhere, you're expecting, you have all these expectations in place, and then what if you come out with nothing? But ICM kind of allows you to always capture one thing that you can always come out with.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, you go.
I was going to say, you're talking about these like kind of compared images. I'm curious to know what these images look like. Can you share some of them? Do we have some side-by-side photos that we can take a look at?
You know what, Gabby? That's a great question. I put a presentation together just for that question. So let's do it.
Perfect. Awesome. I love it. Can't wait to see these. We've got some great friends in the chat here as well, commenting on your photography and interview shoes. Stephanie Johnson in the chat too, saying pretty much the standard with ICM, hundreds of frames to come away with, only a handful of good images. Definitely worth the hard work, Mitch. Absolutely.
All right. Are we good? Oh. Hey guys, are we okay?
Hey. Yeah.
Can we see?
You have your,
Yeah. I'm sharing right now, so it should be good.
I can see a side profile of you.
So let's see.
It's all good, Quinn. People are loving you. Tia says you're rocking it. Quinn's parents are here. I love that. Always gotta love parents. They're the most supportive people out there in the world. Number one fans. I've seen a couple of people saying that they're number one fans in the chat box.
A lot of them out there. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Samantha, Zach, Mescal, Roll Tide. Let's go. Stephanie's here. Olivia. Thank you guys.
A lot of great people. And don't forget, everyone, we do have an amazing giveaway right at the very end. We're actually going to be auctioning off the Salmon Surprise that landed the inaugural cover of ICM Photography Magazine. I've got it here. Look at how beautiful this is. And you can see that streak that he was talking about that actually ended up captivating Stephanie Johnson's attention. So This looks like it can definitely be in someone's kitchen. I know we've got a couple of people out here who have your artworks in their kitchen. Gallery hours, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 p.m. Don't forget to show your support if you do happen to be in the local area. We're located at 6516 Washington Street here in Yountville, California. And you can also come on the weekends from 12 to 4. Thanks for launching website information, quinnsaine.com. You can also follow Quinn on Instagram at Quinn Saine, in case you want to stay up to date with all this beautiful photography that he's always posting about. We've got a great question, Quinn. Do you adjust the image after you've captured it? I think you might be muted, Quinn.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Oh, good. Can we see the images on there? Is that working?
We can, yeah.
Oh, super.
Awesome. Can you walk us through some of these before and afters?
Absolutely. So what we have here is, whoa, wait a second. All right. So is everybody here? Are we good to go?
We are solid.
All right. So this image that you see here is, you can see the settings of the camera. And this was just shot on automatic. I just flipped back from a manual photo to an automatic. And this was taken at 1/125th of a second. Shutter speed, and the aperture is 2.8, ISO 640. The next photo, what you can create from that image is what I came away with here. It's one of my favorite photos that I've taken recently, and it's actually, the line there is the transition of the light of the fishing boat out in the distance at Bodega Bay. And so you can create these amazing photos. I used to think that the fishing boat lights were ruining the photo, and I started just work with them. And so that's kind of the first side by side that you can have. So the first one, it's all right, but then you have these possibilities of this really cool textured photo with the separation, with the fog light using that as a wavy influence. So that's really cool. The next photo that I'm going to show you this is what it looks like. I was at the beach. This is at Portuguese Beach, in between Point Reyes and Jenner.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, pretty close to the same settings as before. That's just an automatic photo. And so it's like, oh yeah, it's kind of cool. And then you can come away with something like this, which is my favorite part about it, is creating, when you have that soft light from the sun coming in. I'll go back to this, but when you have that sunlight there, you can really play with it. And when it's that soft yellow color, I get super excited. And you drive out, and there's this 3-minute window of when you can capture this style photos. And this is one of my absolute favorites here. I picked my favorites naturally. But so this one's taken at 0.6 of a second exposure, and then you have a higher aperture, which is letting less light in, so it compensates for the longer exposure to create an image that is balanced, and the histogram looks good. So that one's taken at 70 millimeters. What do we have next here? So that's a side-by-side of what the possibilities are. So you have the whitewash there, and then you can kind of create this little whatever type of movement you make with the camera as you're panning along the horizon. So what do we have next here?
How long does it take you to do that?
That one's 0.6 of a second. So it's a very quick shutter speed, and I take a ton of photos. This night I was super pumped about what was going on. I knew it was going to be a good one. So I probably took 350 to 450 photos that evening.
Wow.
Yeah.
So are you adjusting the image on the left later to make it the image on the right, or were both of these pictures taken on the spot, but you're just seeing a side by side?
So we're seeing a side by side. These were taken. The only thing that's changing is that the shutter speed is a lot longer on the image on the right, and I'm also moving the camera along the horizon line to create this striated effect. And so that's the main thing that changes, is that the shutter speed is longer and more and open longer, so that it can capture that blur as you move along the horizon. So that's this is what you would see essentially in the back of the camera when you would review a photo, is the one on the right. There's and that basically the only thing that I change is just a little bit of lights and darks, just opening up the color palette just a little bit. So that's
Stunning.
a great question. Thank you, Gabby. Thanks for asking that. Moving on.
I'll give credit to Mary.
Perfect. So moving on, I just put a couple extra photos in here that I really love. This one is at Asilomar State Beach near Monterey and Carmel. And this was after the initial image that I took, that I figured out what ICM photography was, and I was super excited about it. I was taking a road trip down to Big Sur to go take some photos and go camping and hang out. Big Sur is my favorite place to be. And so this particular image was out on there are all these these rocky outcroppings, and so there's a lot of whitewash, and then it faded right out to the deep blue sea. And then just the way that the clouds were structured created this just beautiful layer of photos. And this is just one of my favorites, and it was the first time that I went out to actually intentionally take this type of photo. And I said, oh my gosh, well, if this is how easy it is and nobody's doing it, this is amazing. And so I didn't know till later that I really lucked out, and this was a very unique situation, but that's still one of my all-time favorites. So moving on again.
Yeah, that one's stunning. And Charles is asking, is your camera handheld, or are you using a tripod when you're doing this?
That's a great question. It's all handheld because I just get crazy when I'm out there. I just do all sorts of things. So that's another reason why it takes so many images to come away with a good one, because the horizon line has to be dead straight. You have to move. I've gotten better with it over time, but they're definitely all handheld. And sometimes you have this wavy motion with your hands that you're intentionally doing, or you can try to go straight across the image. And the different shutter speeds, you come away with a different effect on the image. So that's a great question. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, that makes sense. Elaine is also asking us in the chat, how do you know how much to move the camera along the horizon?
That's a very good question as well, Elaine. Thank you. So what I'll do is I'll eyeball through the viewing lens. I will look at what the frame looks like, and I'll try to start the image as I'm panning across. I'll try to start it with the sun and then move it until it's open, or until the sun ends on the other side of the frame. So depending on the shutter speed, that's how fast or slow you have to move the camera along the frame that's given to you, and it tightens up with a 200 millimeter focal point, or it opens up a little bit more and you have more to work with. So you have a further distance if you're shooting at a 70 millimeter lens focal point. So that's a good question too. Hopefully I answered that okay.
You did. We've got a great question from Olivia as well. Since you're a self-taught photographer, how long did it take for you to get from discovering that first shot to being on the cover of ICM Photography magazine?
So this all started I've been doing photography since 2012. Things that I always thought photography was awesome, and I really admired, my parents always had National Geographic growing up, and I'd always be down and just looking at photos and seeing what was going on in the world. And so I always admired photography. But I wasn't really super intrigued until this happened. And so it'd always been a little bit of I like it, but I don't love it. And so this was in 2018. This was, I think January 2018. And so it's a 2-year body of work that I've been putting together.
Lots of good time to develop your craft, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And so there's been iterations that I've gone through of what does this do? And you know, you only have those fleeting moments when you're out there to experiment, because we don't live close to the coast. So I only have these, I mean, I go out there a lot, but you don't have all the opportunities in the world to create these. But yes, about 2.5 years, I would say, to create what I've and kind of get my style down.
So does most of it only work with like oceans and waves? Or Robin's actually asking, you know, right now we have these beautiful mustards that are growing all over Napa Valley. Can you achieve a similar look, or what would it look like if you were to try ICM with the mustards throughout Napa?
Oh, absolutely. I definitely have done that myself. I've taken some photos of the mustard in the vineyards, and the biggest thing is to work with what landscape you're given. So if you have aspen trees, if you have the horizontal landscape of the ocean, you just work with what you have. So for the mustard, I would definitely go vertical, so it can carry that feel of what you're given. Really is whether it's trees, you're going to go vertical. If it's ocean, you're going to go horizontal. So you can definitely work with anything you have, for sure. And
that's awesome to know.
So much creative freedom there. Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm sure that you really enjoy having that creative freedom, because it kind of seems to be your spirit.
Yeah, I'm not a binary person. I like to have a little bit of flexibility in what's going on there, and yeah, for sure. So should I move on to the next image? How do we feel about that?
Yeah. Let's keep seeing what other images we've got here.
You're in charge, Gabby. All right. So this is an image. This is actually kind of a rare occasion. I was out at North Beach in Point Reyes, and I was still using the same lens. I used the 7200 millimeter for every single photo that I take, as far as this goes, because it's easier to capture it doesn't warp the horizon line. If you have anything less than a 70 millimeter, it'll add a little bit of, it won't be straight across. The line, the striations won't be perfect. They'll be a little bit warped. So that's why I use a 7200 millimeter. But this was out at North Beach in Point Reyes, and it was this unbelievably sunny day, and I had a neutral density filter, which is basically putting a pair of sunglasses on your camera lens, and so you can have a longer shutter speed without the photo being too bright. And so this is one of my favorites. This one's actually out at as a huge metal piece, 60 by 40 piece at Heron House Tasting Room just down the street from here. Wow. One of my favorites, and it kind of captures just that movement and feel of the ocean. And it was a unique day. It was just so sunny, and the light was just exploding off the water. You don't really see that too much in Northern California. You can, but it's not often. And so it's just this beautiful blue, and this was just experimenting again, and I came away with a photo that I really, really like, and it's just easy to look at. And so
yeah, it's stunning. It almost is like calming just looking at it.
Yeah.
I have probably the most important question regarding this image. What was the song that you were jamming out when you photographed this?
That is a great question. It might have been, oh boy. It might have been Xavier Rudd, Follow the Sun. That might have been the one. Yeah, maybe. That's definitely one that there's I've got, if anybody wants to share my playlist, I will give it to you.
We can find it on Spotify somewhere.
Spotify is one of my best friends.
I love that.
Yeah, so this was at North Beach. That was a really cool afternoon. I was going there for sunset and just decided to read a book on the beach, but it was just too pretty not to try to take photos. So I just had this unique opportunity. So moving on to the next one. Thanks for hanging in there, everybody. This is another one that little bit of cloud cover came in, and so it creates that nice orange reflection, and the white line that you see is the sunlight, a little bit brighter than normal, which is why it's white. But this is another one of my favorites.
It looks like a painting, which is what's so beautiful about it.
Yeah, that's another one of my favorite. It's just easy to look at. I think they're really beautiful. I like the warms and cools, and I like and that's why I fell in love with it. They're just so fun to take.
Yeah.
And you never know what you're going to get when you go out there. So you have different cloud conditions, all sorts of different things, whether you're going to shoot from a cliffside down or whether you're going to be right at the water's edge or whatnot. So, all right, moving on. Next one. This is actually one that's behind Gabby. We've got this one in the gallery right now. This is down in Southern California, La Conchita. I was actually hanging out with one of my best friends he's the one who asked me if I'm still taking those blurry photos. So I was with that guy when I took this photo. That's Virgil. And so the reason for the soft sky is that it was actually fire season. And so there's just this really soft pink sky, and the waves weren't coming in hard. So I was actually I was just in board shorts out there, probably waist deep in the water, really low. And there were just these nice rolling waves coming in. And I tried to capture with the camera moving with the wave to try to capture a little bit of crispness, but still have that flow to it.
So do you have to get like super down and dirty then to get some of these shots? Or are you really like in the thick of the sand?
Oh, it's a disaster every time I go out there. It's I'm soaking wet. I got sand everywhere. My car's that's a good question. But I'm laying down out there. People are like, what is he doing? What is going on here?
You're like, just you wait.
Yeah. So if you see that guy, it might be me.
If you see someone weird at the beach, it's probably Quinn.
Why is he getting all wet and sandy all the time? What's going on there? So that one's down at La Conchita. This is one of my favorites. This is actually what Kai CBD company used for some of their tinctures and balms. This is down at Santa Cruz, and this was when the waves were really coming in pretty heavy, and so I was able to capture those. Those are just sets of waves coming in. That's all it was. I think that's a Surfers Point in Santa Cruz.
Wow.
So that one's just, again, very easy to look at, and I love blue, so the ocean's just naturally my favorite. That's where I'm at.
Yep. Mary's asking, can she get these in any size? Can you make these in essentially any size, or are they only sort of one size?
Yeah, you can do up to, the fulfillment provider that I go through, the print provider that I work with, I think they go up to 80 by 120, so pretty big.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So, yeah. And that's with holding a particular image quality. That's for the camera that I have, the amount of pixels that are in a particular image to not lose that quality and become pixelated. That's the maximum size. So I like to have my minimum is 300 dots per inch. And so that's what I stand by. And so I don't do anything really bigger than that, because it starts to ruin the piece. It starts to get a little pixelated and not good. So up to pretty big though. I mean, that's pretty sizey. So.
Yeah, the one I've got behind me is pretty large, and I think you go just a little bit bigger than that one. So that's good.
Yeah, Karen, so it'd almost be probably 3 times the size of the one behind you. That's what, yeah.
Oh, 3 times the size of the one behind me.
So that one's a 30 by 45 that you've got behind you. So maybe not 3 times. Again, I'm not binary. I'm not a math person.
Karen actually asked a question that I'm really curious about, and this is going to kind of segue into a question that Stephanie is asking too. She said, can ICM be done with a cell phone? Like, if I wanted to do this on my iPhone, could I? Do I need special equipment? Like, what's everything that you have in your bag? Like, what do you take with you when you're out there?
So I take a Canon 5D Mark IV is what I have. That's the body that I shoot with, camera body. And then I always shoot every single image that we're seeing right now is through a 70-200 millimeter 2.8 aperture lens. And so the L series lens is that's what I shoot with. And yeah, those are my go-tos for this particular style of imagery. The other 2 lenses that I have in my bag are I have a 16 to 35 2.8, which is for astrophotography, shooting the stars, which is what I really that's my other favorite style of photography, because you just don't see the magic until you see the photos. You can't imagine how much light your camera can pick up. Yeah. And then the other is just a standard 2470 2.8 Canon lens that's just rock solid, just kind of a workhorse standard lens. So those are the 3 lenses that I have. Yep. And if I were to go back, I would probably do, instead of Canon, it's a great camera. No hate on Canon, but I would probably go for the Sony cameras, the mirrorless version. They're just smaller, easier to take around, really great quality. So if I wasn't so invested in how many lenses I had, I would probably go with a mirrorless for sure.
That's good to know. And we have some comments in here saying that they absolutely love the Kai one of their favorites. Which you were actually involved in. Like, you not only landed yourself on the inaugural cover of ICM Photography magazine, but you also had some of your images selected as part of the packaging and branding behind Kai CBD, the very best in all natural coming out of Colorado.
Yeah.
How did you get involved with all of that? And can you elaborate a little bit on sort of the relationship there and what that process was like?
Oh, absolutely. I'd be happy to. The Kai imagery it's from one of my best friends, Joey Coleman. We used to live together in Southern California for about a year or so, and then he moved to Singapore. I moved to Hawaii, but we've remained good friends, and we were always going back and forth on how we could start a business together, because we just thought we just have a good time all the time. So we said, we got to do something together. We got to figure this out. So he moved down to Nicaragua, and then I moved to Northern California. And while he was down there, he's the ultimate adventure man. And so he and his wife, Kelsey, who I'm very good friends with, they were paragliding in Colombia.
Oh, it looks like Quinn disappeared here. Oh, he's coming back. But we'll probably need to get him mic'd up. We'll get to Cindy, maybe if you want to assist Quinn here real quick, as he's going on to explain all about his relationship with Kai CBD. We are at the Yountville Arts Gallery. So I'm excited to see some of you are here local in town. You're going to be joining us this weekend. If you do have a chance to come visit, definitely join. We are here Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can also come visit on the weekends from 12 to 4. And I know some of you are asking a lot of great questions about where can you get Quinn's work. So definitely make sure you're following him on Instagram at Quinn Saine. Probably one of the greatest places where you're going to be able to connect with him, see all of the great artwork that he's doing. And then the second location would definitely be his personal webpage. So if you actually go ahead and check out quinnsaine.com, you'll be able to see all of his artwork photography. You can even customize those different sizes to go ahead and get the canvas that you're looking for. So lots of fun options. He's got note cards. If you want to just get a collection of note cards, if you're like me, I love writing people and sending them little surprise messages in the mail. Who doesn't like snail mail? We don't do that anymore. And you can gather all of these cute little cards that he also sells on his webpage and just write someone a nice little note. And it'll come with the Salmon Surprise, with a lot of different other imaging that he has. Robin, great question. Where is that Yountville Arts Gallery? We are located at 6516 Washington Street here in Yountville. And that you can go ahead and join us Monday through Friday, every weekday, 9 to 5. The show is going on until about April. We lost you there for a second, Quinn.
Hey, I'm back.
I was wanting to know. No, you're all good. You were talking about how Joey and his wife were paragliding, and then you cut out. So it was like this moment of suspense, a literal cliffhanger.
So and we're back, part 2. Sorry for the intermission there. But they were down in Colombia. He broke his back. They were living in Nicaragua. And the only thing that he could do for physical therapy was to go out in the ocean and swim, non-impact. And that's what he did. That became his passion, to go out and do open water swimming in the ocean. And then he and Kelsey moved back to Colorado because his brother was they wanted to get in the CBD game. And so they started growing tons of CBD. And he said, hey, I've got this idea. I want to do Kai. Kai means ocean in Hawaiian. And so he said, I think that's going to be the label. And turns out 10 years later, this is what we can do together. Let's get in here. I want you to do all the branding for the business. And so that's what happened. So we finally figured out all my work's on the ocean. It just kind of worked out together. So, yep, worked out great.
Yeah, now you finally did your partnership with your friend, and his products look so cool because they have all of your images on there. And I was checking out the website too earlier, and I was just like, your name's all over everywhere. So it's like this great buddy relationship that you've got going on. Both of you amplifying each other's work. Gotta love the positivity.
That's best case scenario there. That's awesome. So super fired up about that.
Absolutely. And your parents must be really proud of you. Jillian's over here saying, Quinn's parent, you did good.
Jillian, she's the best.
Well, the gallery is definitely a must see if you're in the local area. It's going to be available until the very end of April. So we've got this beautiful flow event going on here Monday through Fridays from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Weekends from 12 to 4 p.m. You can drop in, check out the artwork. If you are in town, some of the paintings photos that are right behind Quinn right here, they are for sale. So feel free to come in, check them out. You can also purchase them, decorate your own homes with some of this beautiful photography that I know we've all been captivated by and fallen in love with. Some of us discovering this artwork for the very first time, but always so great. And then I know that you also are on social media, right? Quinn Saine, is that the handle?
Yeah, somehow that name wasn't taken yet, so I got it. Yep, at Quinn Saine. That's me.
That's you. How has Instagram impacted your ICM photography career?
Oh, it's been so cool. There have been so many collaborations, and just I follow all photography people, and there's just this awesome community there. And I've actually scheduled some calls with people and just asked them for their advice on what their mission is and what they, where they find their inspiration from and where they're going. Maybe there's somebody, a friend of mine down in Santa Cruz, he always goes to these amazing places in Big Sur, but he didn't like to tell anybody about them. So I try to say, where are you at? What's going on here? But he still hasn't told me, so that's all right. But you got to go find it yourself sometimes. Yeah, so you just got to go do it. So it's been really great, and you connect with people who are like-minded, and you have these, you have your different hashtags that you're following, maybe abstract or minimalism or ocean or whatnot. And so you just immediately connected to this amazing community of photographers or image-based community.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm curious to know, would you be down? And I think I already know the answer to this. If you're connecting with all of these great artists from all over the world, are you totally down to just go fly out somewhere new and just link up with people and figure out what kind of great shots you can get? Is that in the plans anywhere?
I'm down. Yes. Yeah, for sure. That sounds very exciting, very cool. Especially with the limited travel right now, I'm getting anxious to go some new places. That's a definite yes.
Oh, well, I love that. And I'm also curious, how do you know when to take your chances? So Joey's in the chat box asking, how do you know when to take those chances?
You gotta take it, you gotta take your time, but also just take the chance of going out to the coast and see what happens. You just take your time, take your chances, and just see what happens. Really, you just have to go.
Got to just do the damn thing.
Yeah, you just got to go, and sometimes you just have to show up. So that's it. That's what I've been doing. And
go ahead.
No. Charles saying I should come to the East Coast. Is that what you're about to say?
Yep, Charles is saying, come on out to the East Coast. He wants you there.
All right, done. Give me some good places to go, and I'm there. That sounds perfect. That's that's
Charles
perfect.
Can pay for lodging and for your food, and you'll give some photography in return.
Perfect. Done. I'm in for some some seafood or barbecue, what have you. I don't know where on the East Coast you are, but we'll figure it out.
Well, I'm excited because we're just at about that time to start doing this beautiful giveaway. Definitely, if you still have any questions, make sure you're dropping them in the chat box here. Quinn, Zach wants to let you know that you should look out for him and Joey on season 4 of Red Oak. All mustaches, limited tennis.
I'll be there. Perfect.
And Joanne's letting you know that your images are stunning, which they absolutely are. Quinn, I hope you recognize just the amazing work that you're doing. The fact that even though this was an accident, again, sometimes beautiful things can come from mistakes. And I think that you are living and breathing that proof of that, and just creating beautiful artwork that's giving people a lot of just beautiful things in their home to decorate with. You also have these great note cards available on your webpage, which I'm a huge fan of snail mail, so I'll be purchasing some of those.
I love throwing some stamps on them, putting them in the mail. Absolutely.
Yep. We can be pen pals, just write each other notes using your cards back and forth.
Perfect. I've got some right here for you.
Great. And Olivia wants you to know you should come to San Diego. So I think that's definitely something that you should want to do, because San Diego is going to have some great waves for you to capture.
Yeah, my travel schedule is filling up. East Coast, I've got San Diego. Who else wants to? Yeah, keep them coming.
Who else wants to throw in some more bartering offers? Give me the couch, give me the food. I'll take the pictures.
Yeah, keep them coming. I'm easy.
Well, I think it's about time for that huge giveaway. We've got this beautiful 12 by 18 photo here that we are going to be raffling off right now. Quinn's going to be doing a great job at making sure he is not looking at the names that are inside of that little bag. And we're going to be choosing a very lucky winner here for this beautiful salmon surprise.
All right. On the edge of your seats, everybody. All right, here it is. Gregory, I'm going to butcher the last name, Nemet.
Gregory.
There you go.
I love that. Gregory is a lucky duck. Gregory, you are the winner of this beautiful 12 by 18 salmon surprise. This one's special. This is the one that landed the inaugural cover of the ICM magazine. So feel very special to know you are getting a gem that is being gifted to you by none other than Quinn Saine.
Thank you, Gabby.
You also have a question from Joanne. She said, what are the images printed on? Is it traditional photo paper, canvas, or metal?
That's I selected the 4 that are my favorite. These here at the gallery are all canvas. Canvas gallery wraps with 1.5 inches. The image actually wraps around the side. They're ready to hang. The other is a satin metal print that the ink is infused into the aluminum, and it has a very long shelf life on there. It's museum quality. The print provider I use is amazing. They're really, really cool. The third option is Hahnemuhle Photo Rag, which is a very, very thick photographic print, and so it's this compressed pulp of paper, and it gives a very rich quality and has a little bit of texture to it. So those are nice for getting a photo framed. And then the last one is acrylic, which is the Hahnemuhle photographic print pressed against. It's adhered with a piece of glass, so it's a glass front to it, non-glare. It's a 1/4 inch glass. So those are the 4 mediums that are my favorite that I went with.
That's awesome. Lots of great options for people, just depending on what they're looking for. Is that different from Robin's asking? Tell us about the finishes you offer. And I'm such a noob when it comes to photography, so I don't know if you've already answered that question.
No, those would be the same. They'd be the same finishes. Either metal. There's glass, a glass overlay that gives a little bit more of a shine to it, and then there's Photo Rag, Hahnemuhle Photo Rag, which is a German photo supplier or photo paper supplier, and then there is canvas.
Awesome. So, well, I'm definitely going to be snagging my own surprises from your gallery, and I can't wait. For those of you who are able to come and visit, congratulations to Greg Nemet. That is huge that you're getting this beautiful canvas here, 12 by 18. For those of you who are able to come visit, the gallery will be here till the end of April. Quinn's incredible show, which he has themed Flow, I think it's very fitting because it's exactly what we're talking about, the ocean, the motion of the ocean. All we do is flow whenever we're inside there and surrounded by that. Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 p.m. You can come to the Yountville Arts Gallery, the community center here, 6516 Washington Street. For anybody who is close by and you want to come check it out, weekends available from 12 to 4 p.m. Make sure you are following Quinn on social media at Quinn Saine. And then for those of you who aren't nearby, even if you want to go ahead and check out his photography, if you want to go ahead and purchase some of your own, if you can't come grab them in person, you can go ahead and check out his website, which we are dropping right here in the chat. It is www.quinnsaine.com. He makes it pretty easy for you to get a hold of him. Everything is branded Quinn Saine.
Yep. And there's a random, I do an organic newsletter occasionally, so that's another thing that you can go to on the website. Very
cool.
occasionally, maybe once every 5-6 weeks or so, whenever I'm inspired. So.
Whenever you're inspired. Well, it looks like you're surrounded by nothing but inspiration. So I just hope that the world opens up soon so that you can keep going and chasing that.
Got it. That's awesome. Perfect. Thank you, everybody, for attending. Appreciate it. Gabby, thank you so much. Cindy, thank you for putting this together for us. And it's been great. Can't wait to keep going.
Thank you so much for joining me, Quinn. I'm really glad we were able to showcase you and just all of your incredible achievements, everything from Kai CBD packaging and branding to the incredible landing of the inaugural magazine on ICM Photography Magazine. And just you in this huge gallery showcase that you have going on. I can't wait to keep sipping from everything that you bring to the table and checking out what else you have to offer for years to come.
Yep, incredibly thankful. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thanks, everyone.